Hey, what's up? Happy belated Turkey Day, everybody. Um, when I read the spoilers a few days ago, I was not looking forward to doing this video because I thought I was going to have to do another review like last week, where I had to yell and rant about all the bad stuff I was seeing on the show. But despite having to watch Kip James wrestle, despite having to watch Sheikh Abdul-Bashir wrestle twice, despite the matches still being too short, this show was an improvement over what we've been seeing for the last few weeks. Was it a blowaway show? No, it wasn't. But it was better than the last two Impacts. First of all, we had the second annual Turkey Bowl, and personally, I like the idea of the Turkey Bowl. I think it's good to have theme shows like that once in a while. Like the WWE, when they go to Las Vegas, they do the Raw Roulette. So, I like the idea of it. The matches could have been better, but I like the tournament itself, and I'm glad they brought it back, and hopefully they'll continue to bring it back. It made sense for Rhino to win. I like that he's in this Frontline faction now. It's nice that they finally found a meaningful role for him, because Rhino had just been sort of lost in the shuffle for a long time. I mean, ever since that feud with James Storm ended, it was like they just didn't know what to do with him at all. It was like, okay, he's in the King of the Mountain match, and now he's reuniting with Christian, and now he's Taylor Wilde's buddy. And he was just one of those guys I thought might have to worry about his job if they followed through with those rumored talent cuts, because they didn't seem to have any idea what to do with him beyond just being the guy who fills any random spot that needs filling, you know what I mean? But this is a good role for Rhino. I think it helps make the Frontline guys look a little more credible. He's a veteran, he's a former world champion, and he's siding with them against the main event Mafia. I like that. But then they added 3D to the group too, which kind of dilutes Rhino's role, and here's where I had to start kind of scratching my head a little bit. Because first, Rhino said that all these guys aren't really experienced enough yet to be AJ and Joe's partners, basically confirming what the main event Mafia have been saying this whole time. And with some of those guys, that's probably true, but at least get Jay Lethal in there. I mean, Jay Lethal was experienced enough to beat Kurt Angle a year ago, and now all of a sudden he's not? I don't buy that at all. And then Rhino goes to 3D for help, which is where logic kind of takes a back seat. Because... Look, who does the Frontline mainly consist of? It's a bunch of X Division guys, right? Well, 3D were the guys who earlier this year were trying to destroy the X Division, and not to mention the little fact that for the last few weeks they've been saying we want to join the main event Mafia. And I guess it was done like this to kind of set up the swerve, but to just ignore that other stuff felt wrong to me. I mean, and they did at least have AJ being the voice of reason, saying, look, man, we can't trust these guys. But for the most part, this kind of felt like a case of the writers expecting the fans to have short memories, which is unfortunate, but it's not like the WWE doesn't do that practically every week, so whatever. And, I mean, I did enjoy the swerve itself. I thought it was well done. The problem was that this storyline was supposed to be about the veterans against the young guys, but now a Final Resolution, you got a team of veterans versus AJ and Joe and two other veterans. I mean, it's like TNA is saying that we don't have any faith in our homegrown talent, and I don't like that. And, I guess they are doing this to add more credibility to the Frontline faction, but you know what? Bring Christopher Daniels and Kaz back instead. I mean, you're not doing anything with Curryman right now anyway. And I know Kaz is still injured, but once he's healthy, get him in there too. I don't give a crap about Suicide, and he's not going to affect the video game sales at this point. But you spent all last year building up Kaz as a credible, like, upper mid-carder, like, semi-main eventer, and if you brought Kaz back, if you brought Christopher Daniels back, then you wouldn't need 3D to fill that role. So, 3D joining the Frontline kind of defeats the purpose of this angle, but I'll wait and see where it goes. Next. Awesome Kong finally has an opponent for the pay-per-view, and it's not Raka Khan, but Jesus Christ, it's not exactly a step up either. And here's where I need to rant a little bit. You had Kong, Taylor, and Roxy fighting over the Knockouts title. They were having a really good feud, having good matches. It was starting to get some real momentum behind it. And then it just disappeared with no explanation, without anything being resolved. And why? So you can hotshot a title push for Christy Hemme instead. Christy Hemme? Are you kidding me? That is a terrible idea. I mean, and this isn't even about Christy getting the title shot that Roxy should have gotten and Roxy getting screwed over again. It isn't about who deserves a title shot more and who doesn't. This is about simple common sense. Look, I'll give credit where credit's due. Christie's obviously been training. In that match with Saeed, she pulled out a couple moves that I didn't know she had. So obviously she's been working hard to improve. I'll give her points for that. But that does not change the fact that this is not a good matchup. Christie does not have the ability, she does not have the athleticism to match up believably with Awesome Kong. And you put them in a one-on-one match, and that's going to become obvious very quickly, unless I'm seriously mistaken about this. There are basically 4 women in TNA right now, 4, okay, that can go toe-to-toe with Kong believably, and Christie is not one of them. Christie is not championship material, at least not yet, and if they book her to be competitive in that match, if they have Awesome Kong selling a lot for her, it's going to look completely unrealistic. And yes, I have read all the spoilers. Yes, I know what they booked Christie to do next week, and I'm horrified by it. Now, I'm hoping TNA won't be stupid enough to have Christie win the title from Kong at the pay-per-view, because that would just be a complete disaster and the death of the Knockouts division as we know it. And I know it sounds like I'm getting all negative again, but I did like a lot of the stuff on this show too. Like the Mick Foley, Alex Shelley stuff. If there's one guy in TNA right now that's getting a rub from Foley, it's Alex Shelley. And I'm not all that confident that they'll follow through on this, since management always seems to be pissed off at him about something. But for right now, Shelley's getting something out of this. You know, someone like Mick Foley saying that this guy is one of the most electrifying young superstars he's seen in a long time, that can do a lot to elevate Shelley in the eyes of the fans if they follow through on it. Okay, if is the key word there. So let's hope that happens. Plus, they're getting the beautiful people involved in this ODB Charmel thing, which is a good move. And look, don't get me wrong, I still hate the fact that Charmel is in this match at all. But hopefully now they'll be able to put all the heat on Angelina and Velvet instead of Charmel, so the announcers can say, well, Charmel didn't beat ODB, the beautiful people beat ODB. I mean, I still don't like it, but it's a step up from where I thought they were going last week. And also, I like the Sting thing, how he's starting to maybe have some doubts about what the Main Event Mafia are doing. And it makes sense because he hasn't been acting quite as heelish as the other 4. He doesn't participate in the beatdowns. He doesn't really resort to heel tactics unless something happens to provoke him first. So they're definitely playing with his ambiguousness again. And people can say whatever they want about Vince Russo always blurring the lines between faces and heels. But one good thing about that is that it does make it easier to turn people from good guys to bad guys and vice versa in a believable way without feeling like you're changing their whole character. So a better Impact this week. Not a great show, but a decent show and a step up from the last few weeks. But man, Final Resolution is still kind of a dark cloud on the horizon right now. I mean, the execution of that pay-per-view is going to be so crucial. So crucial to how well it comes off or how well it doesn't come off. But I'll explain my reasons for that in the next video. For now, I gotta go. So I will talk to you next weekend. See ya.